Well, guys, the first season of the Premier League is upon us, and we have been busy. Yes, if you remember, guys, at the end of the last episode, we did successfully get a very surprising promotion to the Premier League. It was no one expected it throughout the season. Um, like I said, maybe all the loan signings I did have were the catalyst to getting us done, but nevertheless, you don't turn down a good promotion, whether we were prepared for it or not. And if the end of that episode, I did say I was going to come back. I was just going to summarize what happened with the end of season rewards and stuff like that. It did come across that the sign of the season was Joe Lumley with 21 clean sheets. Dan Scarlett wasn't on the list of potential new signings. That could be because he followed his loan signing on from the season before, but he was named Fans Player of the Year. And in a very short period of time after that end of season review, we were put in a transfer embargo straight away, almost in a transfer embargo. And we're told there was a potential takeover, and I was worried it was going to absolutely destroy our summer plans. Obviously, it wouldn't let me sign anybody or bring anybody in or do anything. Well, luckily, that transfer embargo actually only lasted a day. And someone else came in and took over the football club and said he's going to put us on the open market. So who knows? Maybe that's going to bring in extra funds in the future. He didn't add to any of the initial £32 million transfer budget that we did have coming into this season. And speaking of the transfer budget coming into this season, let's get straight in to how busy we've been this summer. There's been a few surprising departures, and we'll go into that just now. And I think the best place to start in the transfer window is the outs. And as you can see, Matty Longstaff is no longer with us. It came down to the fact that he wanted a brand new contract, which is the issue we are going through. And I think the contract he was sort of after was not something I could give him, not something I could even slightly guarantee, especially wanting to improve the team overall, going up a division. He had a massive sulk, and I thought, I'm looking at players to replace him long term anyway, so we moved him on for a relative price. So I think it was about £1 million. It was £1 million in our bank and him off the wage budget. The other big departure at the end of last season was actually quite a surprise for myself. It wasn't something I wanted to do. And that is obviously Regan Poole has left ourselves for Reading, who did get promoted with ourselves, so maybe not the wisest transfer to let him go there. But again, he was another one. I think, as you look to see there, £47,000 a week was the sort of thing he was asking for with ourselves, going from obviously a lot less than that to that. And I couldn't justify giving him that, considering I had to think, obviously, of the entire squad and improving it. I was a bit gutted to see him go, but we did get £7 million for him. And considering we brought him in for only £300,000, I think after one season, that is an amazing bit of business. Gutted to see him go, but in terms of the money side, I think you can't absolutely complain at all. The other departures as well for coming into the season were mainly loan players, obviously, because I wasn't able to ship players out. No one wanted to buy any of my players. So Colby Bishop, obviously, Elliot Simpson and Tom Lowry, who did actually go for a fee, have all gone out temporarily. But let's go on the busy side of the transfer market when our wins. The first move that I did actually make going into the summer is I went and got the two youngsters, as you can see there, Joe Hugill and Charlie McNeil, on free transfers from Man United. I'd seen they were leaving Man United, and obviously they're not necessarily good enough for ourselves yet, but I thought to myself, bring these free transfers, even if we send them out on loan, and we can get some good loans in them, they could become good enough for our squad, or I can make a couple of million quid on them for ourselves going forward. Then one of the big signings for ourselves, I thought it was important to improve our defence even more from last season. I brought in Jamal Lascelles, which I think he came for about £80,000 overall. I don't really know why. Newcastle wanted to let him go. I thought £80,000 was really as small as that. I think you can check here. Yeah, £78,000. I couldn't really turn that down, considering, yes, I had a £32 million budget, but I've got a lot of players to bring in to improve this team. It seemed like a no-brainer. Wages weren't relatively unrealistic for the Premier League either. So that was my first main signing of the summer to improve the defence. I then continue with another defensive signing, albeit an attacking fullback in Toffolo from Nottingham Forest. Obviously, Forest didn't actually get promoted at all, so these players obviously were becoming available. And I think for himself as well, again, £125,000 to bring in another player. So two players for less than £200,000 to improve our defense overall and the squad depth. Seemed like a no-brainer. Like I said, I did have to think about the actual squad itself and where I can get some good bargains. And quite frankly, I think these two first signings for the summer were absolutely fantastic bargains. I then looked at the other end of the pitch. Obviously, there was a lot of loan signings we had last season. I think we had, 6, 7, even if that was the main catalyst, was getting promoted. They were, in fact, on loan. So obviously, there were certain positions going forward that we didn't really have anybody. And again, he was another one, Brennan Johnson. It will cost us about 17.5 million overall, which I don't think is a terrible signing, considering looking at his stats and his ability, obviously, for our football club. I will promise, though, we didn't sign everybody from Nottingham Forest. Although this isn't the last one from Nottingham Forest. But again, it seemed like a no-brainer. It seemed like a great addition to the squad. Obviously, you can play it on the right-hand side mainly, but you can also play it on the front. Basically, across the front line, which means we can switch him from one side to the other. I then wasted no time in replacing Matty Longstaff with Matt Grimes from Swansea. He come in for about 2.5 million. Again, good, solid all-round player. I know the star rating might suggest I made the wrong decision there looking at Matty Longstaff, but I think great signings, decent work rate, teamwork 16, natural fitness, stamina, used to come in the middle there, box to box, ball winning midfielder, lots of energy in the middle, hard working, which I think, especially for a team that's going to be fighting at the very bottom of this division, having hard-working midfielders with a lot of energy is going to be realistic what we are going to need here. I then went and brought Will Smallbone in, who was a free transfer from Southampton. Again, the star rate doesn't say much about him, but again, hard-working in the middle, off the ball, teamwork. Again, I'm looking for that of like industrial, hard-working midfielder. Yes, he can play as advanced playmaker, which if I change the formation around is exactly where he'll play. And it gives us that option, obviously, for righty players. But again, I wanted to add a bit more strength and depth in that midfield, considering Matty Longstaff is gone, Marlon Pack is getting old, Tom Lowry's gone, sorry. So again, I wanted to reinforce that position. I then went and made Cameron Archer's move from Aston Villa permanent. Obviously, I didn't really have any strikers at all. I think I had Colby Bishop on the books, and which was a striker that I was trying to get rid of anyway. So I need to bring in some bargain signings, players that I think would do well. Straight £5 million for Cameron Archer, considering he was on almost 20 goals for the season last season. As you can see by there, it seemed like a no-brainer again. And I'll keep saying no-brainer a lot, but it seemed like a no-brainer. Again, relatively small wage as well. And quite frankly, looking at his stats already and his potential, if it doesn't work out, I'm at least going to get my money back on there. But I think absolutely fine. And it wouldn't be a South Coast Supremacy season without Dane Scarlett now, would it? Yes, in fact, I have managed to bring him on loan for a third consecutive season. Tottenham are being very, very generous. And as you can see by his stats and his rating, he's playing for us every single week, every single season. His stats going up, which means as we're going up the levels, we're able to match what Tottenham want for him, and he's able to be good enough for us in every division. But yes, third season, third loan signing for Dane Scarlett. I nearly missed out on him, but I was patient, went back, and like I said, it isn't a season if we haven't got Dane Scarlett. And I did add some more further attacking additions. I did say I'd been busy with a 25-year-old Orej Lingra. I'm not going to pretend that I've said that right. But he came in again relatively for about £59,000. As you can see, there's a lot of bargains and really, really low prices here was where I was going for, purely because I needed to get a lot of players in a lot of positions. But this guy looks half decent, especially for the price range. Obviously, dribbling 16. Work rate's all right. Got a bit of flair. Position and teamwork, yeah, it's questionable. But he's got decent, obviously, composure, concentration, decisions, determination. He's fast. He's relatively strong, kinda. And again, he can also play in a multiple of the attacking positions, obviously on both wings and through the middle. Um, but it seemed like a no-brainer to really reinforce our attacking positions. Obviously, we've now got Brennan Johnson and him in. This one may be a surprise to everybody. It was a surprise to me, but it came up as a free transfer after leaving Millwall of all teams. And quite frankly, looking at his stats, it kind of felt like a no-brainer because obviously I brought Archer back and I brought Scarlett back in. And obviously I need more than 2 strikers for the season. So this guy cropped up and I was a bit hesitant at first. I got him on trial, but if you actually look at his stats, bearing in mind obviously we're a Premier League team and I know it is compared to the rest of our squad, but a natural fitness, strength, stamina, work rate, determination, bravery. Yes, aggression's up there, but this guy is a hard-working forward, and because he's got strength with him, he's going to be hard work. He's going to be pushing up front, and really, really grafting in those attacking areas, which means the games, again, that's going to require a lot of energy. This guy's just going to work, and I just thought we could be a great mix involved with the young lads to, change things up or bring him on or possibly even start him over them. You never know. But yes, we brought in Andreas Vollgausmer from Millwall. And then moving on to the last signing from Nottingham Forest, at least for now anyway, you never know. We brought in Morgan Gibbs-White for around £9 million. Again, you may see we've got quite a few players in the middle, but I was more thinking about playing him, as you can see, on the attacking midfield left side. Good all-round player, good star rating, flair, vision, work rate, decisions, stuff like that. Technique, passing, hard working. Yes, there's things he needs to improve on, really, but £9 million for Morgan Gibbs-White from Forest. Again, bearing in mind the quality of the team that I took up with me, I really, really needed to improve on all over the pitch and in every department. So again, more strength and depth, much better quality player than I had so far. And then the last defensive reinforcement I have made so far this season, we brought in a brand new right back. Obviously, the ones I had pretty much left without a contract. I had Todd Kane left. I can't just work the season with just Todd Kane. Obviously, Castina, again, was someone I sort of scouted earlier on and was on an hour on. But when it came down to it, great crossing, dribbling. Obviously, good at tackling, work rate. Again, obviously, I keep mentioning that a lot, but obviously, this team's going to have to work hard to stay in this division. Not the tallest right back in the world, but an attacking right back. So, obviously, defensively, we might struggle with him a little bit, but I think it's a risk worth taking. Great anticipation, bravery, composure, his decisions, his determination. Again, as I keep saying, hard working, and he was only brought in for £4 million. Yeah, Newcastle made a bit of money off him, but again, like I said, I had £30 million to improve a lot of the squad, and this seemed like a great signing for ourselves. And the last signing we have made of the summer transfer window so far is Miranda. He came on a free transfer from Racing Club. I had him on loan with another player. Like I said, he's more of a deep line playmaker, so I'm thinking he's going to go in that obviously deep line playmaker role. In defensive, good all-around stats, good star rating, solid player all around. Strength is a bit to be desired, but nevertheless, it's a good player all around. I know you'd probably say they've brought in an excessive amount of central midfielders, but I am still looking to ship some on. Obviously, some are reluctant to go, and others are other teams don't want them. Essentially, we're trying to get rid of them, and other players don't want them. We are looking at another few departures. It is looking like Joe Lumley will be leaving us this summer, even though he was the fans player of the season. He wanted a new deal. I feel like I can bring in a better goalkeeper for this division, and he wanted a new deal, and he wanted too many guarantees and a ridiculous wage. Again, I said no. I need to think about, obviously the team in the Premier League. And despite the negotiations, he wasn't having it. He wasn't having it, sulked, and he's put a transfer request and wanted to leave, which I'm happy to take if I can bring in the right goalkeeper. And also, as much as again I really want to keep him, hopefully it does die down. Keegan Bryan is the same situation. Wanted a lot of guarantees, wanted playing time. Then I knew I wasn't going to give him bringing in a new left back. He wasn't willing to negotiate and accept a lesser role. So we may need to replace him along with our new goalkeeper. That being said, this is the look of our team so far. See, Toffolo is our new left back with Gibson still in there, when Lascelles and Cassina, and almost like a brand new defence. Lumley in goal for now. Obviously, Miranda in that defensive role. Smallbone, who can replace with Matt Grimes. Gibbs White can go in there. But Gibbs White in the inside forward on the left hand side, and Johnson as a wing on the right hand side, and the two star boys from last season in Arch and Scarlett up top. My thought process is, at the moment, I feel like I need to bring in 2, possibly 3 more players. I think I definitely need another centre back, because you got Gibson, Lascelles, and Raga, and other than that, I have no other centre backs. So realistically, I do need to bring in maybe a youngster, but like at least one more body in centre back. I am going to need to replace the goalkeeper, so that's 2 signings, and possibly a new left back into Toffolo. And I would maybe like one more attacking player. But looking at the finances and the wage budget, unless I can shift some players on, which I'm struggling to do, it may be just the 2 players, possibly 3, left back, centre back, and in goal. But a key bit of information on the journey of our South Coast supremacy. Obviously, I did say in last season that Bournemouth were in the playoff picture, so we couldn't possibly rule them out yet. In regards to, I say we couldn't rule them out there in regards to our task to be the best team on the South Coast. But as you can see, going into the season, Bournemouth did fail to win the playoffs. So as things are, obviously Bournemouth, Brighton, Plymouth down in the division below. As you can see, there is only one team left for us to conquer, and that is our biggest rivals in the South Coast in Southampton. So on the next thumbnail, you'll see a big fat cross next to Bournemouth's name. Obviously, that could come back, that could disappear if we were to get relegated and they come back up. Obviously, it's not only there permanent if I can keep it there permanent. But we've got one more challenge ahead of us in this series to reaffirm ourselves as the best team in the South Coast and confirm our South Coast supremacy. So Southampton, we are coming for you. And just to sum up this recap episode of the end of last series and what we've been up to in the early stages of this season, because we have been very busy. Obviously, I've gone through a lot of transfers there, and obviously we did go through a takeover. So I won't be playing a game in this episode, because as you can see, I've gone through a lot of transfers so far. So I won't go through a game in this one, but I will just round it up, going on how pre-season went for ourselves. I mean, we were flawless in pre-season, as you can see. 3 victories and a draw at the end there against Parma, which I don't think's bad. Obviously, Scarlett has already found his goal-scoring form with us, including Archer. Will Smallbone coming from the midfield and pushing in that box-to-box role where George Saville was, which he is still here, and hopefully he stays here. He's been doing well. But I thought I'd just come back for this first. I thought I'd come back just before the beginning of the season to summarise what we've been up to so far and how busy we have been so far. Like I said, there is a few more signs I would like to bring in and a few more players I would like to get out. People like Marlon Pack, who are being stubborn to leave. You know, replacing Joe Lumley, stuff like that. I'll probably come back just after deadline day, just to give you a little look into how the season started for ourselves and looking at those fixtures. I really don't expect it to start very well. Obviously, Liverpool and Man United, just for examples in there. I'll come back just after deadline day to let you know how I went on for the rest of the obviously transfer window, whether I managed to bring in the players I want, and whether I feel confident about the squad. I must admit, I'm getting more confident with the squad. I feel like the squad depth is getting better. But it seems like a good place to wrap it up, guys. Like I said, and as I do say, if you do enjoy the series and if you do enjoy this episode and any other episodes and want to see obviously the future of this series, then feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. That is greatly appreciated. And obviously any shares of the video is also greatly appreciated. And guys, wish me luck for the rest of the transfer window. See if I can make this squad good enough to stay in the division. Touch wood. And I'll see you guys at the end of deadline day.